It's time for Side Scrollers with me, Stuttering Craig.
You decide when you lose, not other people.
And Blabs.
I like pickles.
And co-hosted by our friends from around the internet. If you like common sense, hit that thumbs up button and, of course, the subscribe button. And join us Monday through Friday live at 11 a.m. Central Time. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on God's green earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and SideScrollers.locals.com. What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday to you. I'm Stuttering Craig. Oh my God, do we have a good one today? We have some great friends joining us. One for the first time. But as always, we are joined by the one, the only, straight from Guam, the Guamanian princess. Here she is. It's Blabs.
Hello. Apparently it's National Siblings Day, so if you have a sibling, happy National Siblings Day.
National Snibblings Day?
Siblings. What did I say? I have the allergies, man.
Well, I don't think allergies add an N to siblings.
Ding dong.
Shabla ding dong. Well, happy National Siblings Day. International Siblings. It's whatever. Who cares? There's always some sort of day, you know?
Uh-huh.
There you go. Blabs, can you let us know what other 57 days it is today in the world? I'm sure there's a list out there as well.
I'm on it like Donkey Kong.
On it like Donkey Kong. There you go. There's your video game tie-in, everybody. Let's go. There it is right there. Good for you, Blabs. Hey, joining us back again, I think third time on the show, it's Jeff from World Class Bullshers. How are you?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. I know it's National Sibling Day. I'm an only child, so I hope I can, fit the bill here on the show.
He's out. There it is. No, you got to have siblings.
Damn. There's a lot of things for today.
Like
what?
what?
What they are?
Of course.
Let's
Yes.
to our other person first. That way he can chime in.
Well, hold on, Blabs. That's literally what I asked you to do. Yes, of course, I want to know what they are. I literally asked you to do that.
Yes, so you might have changed your mind in the last 10 seconds. I have to keep up with you.
That's true. I do bounce all over the place. It's crazy. I'll tell you what. I'm excited to see what this guy brings to the table. Jeff, I'm sorry. You were continuing with talking about National Siblings Day.
No, I'm an only child, so I don't care about National Siblings Day, but I'm happy to be back.
Jeff out here throwing out the middle finger to all the siblings out there. Get the hell out of here. That's right. Oh man, Jeff, that spoiled you spoiled son of a bitch. Getting all the good stuff. Look at that background. That's crazy. Yes. But joining us for the first time, his bio over here, which, man, the internet is going to go crazy with this. Leader of the Bigot Army. It's Hypnotic. Hello.
What's up, everybody? Just to be clear, I do have a sibling, but we celebrate too many damn things on this country, so I'm with Jeff on this one. Sorry. If you want to kick me out, it's fine. Yeah, I'll accept it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure, man.
My sibling, and I was like,
I too will text my sibling. I think if I was to text my siblings, my younger brother would probably just be like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" Why?
How many siblings do you have? You have like 10,000.
Yeah, I have 10,000 siblings, Blabs.
Uh-huh.
No, I have 2 brothers and a sister.
That's a lot.
There's 4 of you. Oh crap.
Yeah, there's 4 of me. Absolutely. Yeah, 3 of us are sane. The other one's insane. The other one lives in California.
Makes sense.
Problem. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But here we are. We're ready to go. We're going to have a great show today. Yes, so Blabs, what other things do we have to celebrate today?
All right. So National Erase Self-Negativity Day.
What?
Yes.
What does that even mean?
Funded in 2024 by National Day Calendar and Pilot Corporation of America. Then we also have National Farm Animals Day. I'm totally down for that.
I'm fine with that one.
National Cinnamon Crescent Day. I'm also down for that too.
Same.
National Siblings Day. National Encourage a Young Writer Day. And lastly, National Library Outreach Day.
Library Outreach Day?
Yes. Take the books to the schools, I guess. Even though
This
it should be
honestly
already
just
library
proves
there.
that so many people are just bored. Like they're just bored.
Yep.
If you got to make up these national holidays for the most ridiculous things, you're just bored.
Hold
You
on.
got to
where
justify
we
the
are.
job you have.
Can we take a step back, Blabs, real quick?
Huh?
The first one you said, it was National Erase what?
Self-Negativity Day.
And it was sponsored by who?
Funded in 2024 by National Day Calendar and Pilot Corporation of America.
Do you
I
know
don't know
who?
what those are.
Yeah, well, let me tell you what the Pilot Corp like. Why does the Pilot Corporation need this? Pilot Corporation is, according to Wikipedia, we've all seen this before. This logo here, the Pilot.
Oh,
Travel
that pilot.
Centers. Yes, an American Petroleum Corporation.
Yeah, I was thinking something totally different.
It's a truck stop.
I thought
Yes,
it was actual pilots in the sky and stuff. I'm
No!
like, maybe because there's so many DEI hires that they're like, no more self-negativity here.
Oh my,
Wow.
yeah. So there we go. Like naturally, the gas station has to fund National Race Self-Doubt Day.
Self-negativity day.
There we go. All right. Well, look, if you're having self-doubt, get the fuck over yourself. You can do it. It's time to get there's I'm gonna erase it for you. All right. Get on your little big boy pants. Let's all stand up, pull up our pants, and we can do this. All right. We can do this. All right. Said you gotta go get it. That's the idea. All right, look, we're gonna have a great show today. Lots to talk about. Lara Croft has been ruined. Melanie is not on the show today, but we do have some Melanie Mac to share with you. We also have, this is not in the title, but I'll tell you this right now. There is an exploit that could potentially ruin Ubisoft. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. A refund exploit, which I'm very intrigued by. And we're getting into this Star Wars Outlaws stuff and the idea of, I sent Blabs a title for the show earlier, and I asked her to proofread it. Blabs, would you read that title? That you said it wasn't quite good enough.
Yeah.
But I think it really describes what Star Wars has done.
Okay, you says, does this title make sense? Tomb Raider to rid colonial pastime. Star Wars man faces hot women.
Star Wars man faces hot women. I think that makes a lot of sense if you're to man face somebody, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. So, but first, I'd like to remind you guys, we are live over at rumble.com/side-scrollers. Join us over there as we are continuously growing over 6,600. We're closing in on 6,666 followers. So hit the follow button and join us over there. Speaking of 666, we're going to talk about locals in a second because we did hit a great little milestone over there. But we also have an X account where you could have found out that Hypnotic and Jeff were going to be on the show over at x.com/side-scroller-pod. We also have an Instagram account, don't we, Blabs?
So yes, follow us for memes and clips of the show. Otherwise, you know what? Jeff is gonna go violent on you.
Wow, Jeff, congratulations! I didn't know
He's
you had
got
that mean streak.
cheese.
He's got
I
what?
did have cheese. I
Had
had
cheese.
He
Had
no
cheese.
longer has cheese.
All right, sounds good. We
was.
also have what's that, Jeff?
It was.
Jeff, if you could just keep your rage bottled in a little bit longer, that'd be
I
great.
will try.
I can feel it percolating out right now, which is good. Look at that. Look at that face. My God. We also have a Kick account at kick.com/side-scrollers. If you don't want to watch us over here, you can watch us over there. Also, you can find us over on Apple Podcast, where you are watching and listening to the number 4 podcast in America right now. Let's effing go in the video game space.
Nice job.
On our way to number 1. Appreciate your support. Thank you guys very much. As we have, we got a few friends to knock off over there. IGN, kind of funny. The other one, we're coming for you. Sorry, I don't remember who the other one was.
You with the name.
But do us a favor. The link is in the description, and follow us over there and give us like 5 stars to get the rating up and all that stuff. That's what helps. So,
I have a question. Are we still number 1 in Uganda?
as a matter of fact, we are still number 1 in Uganda.
Yes.
We are still number 3 in leisure in Uganda, though.
We're gonna catch up with you, that ASMR thingy.
We got to number 2, and we dropped back down to number 3 yesterday.
Damn.
So it's really fuck, you know.
I mean, honestly, Uganda's really only where it counts. So
Exactly. They know the way, okay?
that's top tier. Congratulations.
They do know the way. Speaking of locals, I mentioned this a second ago, but we hit 666 members over on locals, which is great. Mark the devil, let's stink and go. You can find us over there at sidescrollers.locals.com. It is free to sign up if you want to support over there. You absolutely can. But I do want to remind you that coming up 1 week from today, I'll be watching for the first time ever Lord of the Rings. And you'll be watching it with me live as we do that in the afternoon. That'll be Wednesday afternoon. The next 3 Wednesdays, starting next Wednesday, I'm going to watch the Lord of the Rings in succession. Those will be locals exclusives over there. Once again, free to sign up, and you get notifications whenever we go live over there at sidescrollers.locals.com. Links to all this stuff is in the description. So
I got you too, huh?
What, locals?
No, the Lord of the Rings. My audience went nuts when I hadn't seen them, so they made a whole stink about me watching them. They sent me the copies. I watched them. Here we are.
What'd you think?
I'm not a fantasy guy, so I can say it like this. They're very well-made movies, and they're fine. I'd have nothing bad to say about them. It's just I'm not that audience, so.
That's fine. That's fair.
I try to be fair about it. I like other stuff.
That's
so.
a fair answer. If they're not look at Hypnotic.
Did Hypnotic just bounce? He's like, I'm out.
I didn't know avatars could do that.
I've never met anybody who said that about Lord of the Rings.
I really wish his avatar could blink.
Well,
I love that. I love it.
I tried to see him in theaters. Like I saw the Fellowship 2001, and I just wasn't really. Take it back. I saw it in 2002. I saw it at a second run movie theater because the next day I was going to see Star Wars, and that was more important. But in hindsight, Fellowship of the Ring is much better than the Attack of the Clones. So I'll give you that.
Well, listen.
I love episode 2. I'm just saying.
Well, I will give you my judgment next week after we watch Lord of the Rings next Wednesday over at sidescrollers.locals.com. But if you're tuning in over on YouTube and it's your first time popping in, hi, everybody. Do us a favor, hit the subscribe button. Join the 75,578 common sense lovers in the video game space, growing like a weed, which is outstanding. Let's do our best to hit our goal of 700 likes this episode, as always, and our other goal of 25 memberships every single show. Let's stink and go. I would also like to remind you that the Side Scrollers All-Star t-shirt is flying off the damn shelf. Oh my God, it's wonderful stuff. Do us a favor and pick one up. Link is in the description right there. The Side Scrollers All-Star t-shirt available until the end of the month or until they're gone, which I think there's a distinct possibility that may actually happen. So join us over there. I would like to share today, right now. Look at this. Look at this. Big Top coming in with the
Nice.
shirt. That, hey yo,
Ooh, Razor Ramon, nice.
right? Big Top says, "Hey yo, something came in the mail today." Look at that! Look at that! Thank you so much, Big Top. Go pick one up, just like Big Top did over there. So yeah, man, that's awesome. So we had a lot going on today, lots to talk about. But first, I'd like to share with you that right off the bat, Brightside Dylan came in with the $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Says, what's up, Craig? Would it be possible to give me your thoughts on including Lara in Smash Brothers mod? Still hoping you and DSP end up playing Smash Remix. Plus, give King Sly T a shout out. I will not give King Sly T a shout out. Absolutely not. I don't know. I don't know who that is, but I will not. As far as my thoughts on Lara in a Smash mod, I think I love Smash mods. I think any sort of mod in a video game is very fun when the fans have an opportunity to get a hold of it. And the Smash mod you're talking about, I looked it up online before we went live because I saw your super chat, and I love seeing the additions to like those classic games, Banjo-Kazooie being added to old school Smash 64, and kind of taking these games to a level that nobody ever dreamed before. So my thoughts on it are awesome. The more the merrier. And my thoughts on competing against Darkside Phil in Smash Remix is okay. I don't really have a whole lot of interest in playing Darkside Phil in really anything. Outside of, I did ask him if he wanted to play Street Fighter 6 when it came out, because I thought that'd be really funny. But I got to be honest, we're long past DSP. Ultra V came in with a 10, says, I'm a middle-aged man. I have a full-time job, a wife, and a mortgage. I'm tired of the culture war and the hatred towards anyone who doesn't toe the line. I just want to enjoy video games. Ultra V, you get it. You get it. And we understand your plight, my friend. Thank you very much for your support, and good luck with your mortgage. Jiggly Saint came in with the 5, says, have you heard of the Star Wars Burlesque show parody called The Empire Strips Back?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether this sounds hilarious or absolute cringe.
It's real. I know someone who went to it and they had a blast.
I was this close to going.
Mm-hmm. It's all burlesque women and like Star Wars stuff. It's amazing.
Are they truly women?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's sad that you even have to
Before,
ask
this
that.
is before the
Yeah.
whole jacking of everything.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm going to pull this up really quick. Film Thread has a trailer for it. Yes. Here we go. I've never heard of this before, and I'm very intrigued by this. I don't know. Let's see what we got. We can just glance at this and see. It's a burlesque show.
Yeah, of Star Wars.
Wow, look at that.
Oh, that's a fetish right there.
Oh, look at that. Look at those.
Oh
Wow.
my.
I'm okay with
Wow.
this.
Hold on. Look at the.
I told you this was like a real thing.
Look at that.
Just look at it.
For the male gaze.
The damn male gaze. Oh, look at there's Yoda over there. Look at all that. The Empire Strip.
Yoda
they're
would
not
be the
drag
only one in
queens,
the-
It's actually all women.
So yeah, it's all women. Yeah, look at that. Female Vader.
Mhm.
Surely somebody's Rule 34 that, right? In a major way.
Oh,
of
dude,
course.
do not.
It's the
look at
internet.
It is the internet. Yeah. Look at that. Wow. Okay, that's
See?
impressive.
it. See?
I'm
Craig's like,
okay
yo,
with
can I
this.
get tickets?
Is this in Vegas?
Flamethrowers?
Listen.
Women in
Come
fire,
on.
man.
Hey, let's go. Where can
Nice.
Craig
I?
was like, take it down quick.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like something that'd be in Las Vegas. So
Craig's like, I'm gonna be there tonight.
yeah, I'm getting on a plane going to Vegas for the next 2 days for the Nerdrotic meetup and and the F&T meetup and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to hanging out. And if it is, maybe I'll go find The Empire Strips Back on Vegas and in Vegas and go check it out. Speaking of, by the way, the next 2 days, Thursday and Friday, going to be out in Vegas, and we'll be podcasting with the Salty Nerd Podcast, those friends over there from their studio. So going to be really, really fun. Looking forward to hanging out with those guys. Hey, Jiggly Saint, thanks for really derailing the show. Appreciate that. That's great. All right, let's get into it. We got a lot going on, Blabs. First, you'd like to share everybody today in gaming history.
I would. So it is now April 10th, and if you want to feel super old, and you'll probably hear the theme song as soon as I say it, but Mario Kart, the Wii version, is 16 years old, releasing back in 2008. Everyone knows that one. You also have Skullgirls turning 12 years old, and Final Fantasy, the remake, is now 4 years old. So there is your geriatric moment of the day. You are all welcome.
Wow, yeah, and as pointed out in the chat, they ruined Skullgirls right there. But Blabs, this is the type of game lineup that I'm talking about right here. This is a great game lineup. This is a really strong one.
You know, it
Very
depends on the day, right, Craig? It's not like I can get these amazing games every day. You leave the Hot Dog Empire game alone.
Listen,
If you play that game now,
you can't just throw Hot Dog Empire in the middle of a list. You can't do
why
that.
not? There was like no other games to pick from.
Then I would.
Look,
I would
Jeff is
rather
googling this now. He's like, let me look at this hot dog. I want to try.
listen.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but I just didn't know it was a game.
It's like Hot Dog Empire.
All I'm saying, Blabs, is if you're gonna have Hot Dog Empire on the list, I'd rather you put like Mario Kart Wii coming tomorrow instead of Hot Dog Empire.
No, that would ruin the disdain gaming now, wouldn't it?
I know.
Do you know the way?
Yes, apparently I do. It's a National Siblings Day. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. Let's get into it. It's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It's time for hard news. All right, we're going to start off with some really hardcore entertainment news as we have a follow-up on Alec Baldwin, the ongoing saga of, well, the murder that he committed when he shot the lady and she ended up dying on the set of Rust. Hypnotic, do you recall this story, the whole Alec Baldwin thing?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Jeff, your thoughts on this? As I don't know, do you think that Alec Baldwin is going to see any jail time, even if he's convicted?
No, we're talking about a big time actor, a person with a lot of money. If you got money, you can get out of anything, including, I guess, murder. So I don't think Alec Baldwin will see the inside of a jail cell, even after I found out the news for today's video.
That's right. Well, according to new court documents pertaining to the Alec Baldwin fatal shooting at Rust, alleged the actor had no control of his emotions on set and often yelled at crew members and himself. Well, that I mean, that's a really good picture of him right there. That definitely doesn't say he has crazy eyes. You know,
he plays a crazy person so well. Have you ever seen him in Friends? He plays like Phoebe's obsessive like boyfriend for one episode. He does it really well.
Is he acting?
I mean, we've heard this from like every actor ever about how they're usually, except for Keanu Reeves, but we've heard this about every actor, how they're usually emotional, hard to work with, prima donnas normally. So he just takes it to another level, probably. But and he had a gun in his hand, which makes it worse.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. So the 32-page document filed on the 5th of April was made public on Monday, whereas the special prosecutor alleged Baldwin would often lose his temper on set, yelling at both himself and other crew members. Like I said, this seems like a pretty, hear about these horrible actors. By the way, apparently I can find the best tech partner from Ukraine over here. Look at that over there. That's good. I need to.
Now, where do you go for your websites, bro?
I don't know. Maybe it's from me buying all the domains that I have now. Crazy.
Whitevoicesavior.com.
Yeah. Okay. I guarantee Alec Baldwin has given money to Ukraine in some way. Most likely. Upon arriving on the set, Mr. Baldwin immediately began demanding the crew and armorer work faster. Mr. Baldwin's relentless rushing of the crew on the movie set routinely compromised safety because Rust is not a romantic comedy. It is an action-filled Western with dangerous stunts and real guns being used as props. So there we go.
Did this movie ever come out?
Oh no. I don't know if it's ever going to see the light of day.
Yeah.
I mean, you release that movie, and all of a sudden, I think that it opens up a whole nother can of worms. Like people are like, "What was the scene? What was the scene that was going to happen when he shot her?" And
it might even do so well because everyone will be interested now, and it'll make like a shit ton of money.
Well, we had something similar happen in the 80s with the Twilight Zone movie. I don't know if you guys know this, but on the making of that movie, an actor named Vic Morrow and 2 child actors were killed, and that movie didn't really have a huge impact. Like, I don't think people in real life are as interested in the morbid shit that we are on the internet. So I think if the movie ever got released, it would hurt it to be associated with that. I don't think it would make a lot of money based on people, because look, let's be honest, anybody that's morbidly curious about that scene is going to wait for the internet. And it's just like The Crow. Brandon Lee died on that movie, and while it got released and it, raised the status of that one, Helena Hutchins is not Brandon Lee. It's not a star. It's all this other stuff around it. So it's tragic, but I don't think it'll help it.
Well, it continues on with this article here. It says, in addition to rushing the cast and crew, Mr. Baldwin was frequently cursing, screaming and cursing at himself, at crew members, and at no one, and not for any particular reason. So he's just like yelling and screaming for no reason. To watch Mr. Baldwin's conduct on the set of Rust is to witness a man who has absolutely no control of his emotions and absolutely no concern for how he conducts how his conduct affects others around him. It's funny because you see people like this who are so sympathetic. Like, that's the thing. Don't you have sympathy towards other people's plight when they have no control of their own emotions and sympathy in a situation like this? At the end of the day, this guy is paid let's say he stands trial and he gets put on the stand. At the end of the day, it's the same thing like with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. These are actors, right? They're literally paid to put on a performance, and they're paid very well. They've been doing it literally their entire life. How do you know anything that they say is sincere?
Well, it looks like they're trying to push for the mental illness argument to some extent.
Yeah, I've been hearing.
That's usually how it starts, But everything they said about what he was doing on set, I mean, Brie Larson got accused of the same exact thing. She just didn't have a gun in her hand. That's the only difference. So,
well, Alec Baldwin too. A couple years back, he went nuts and yelled at his daughter, and they released that phone call. So, like, the guy, I'm obviously the accent's an accent, but I'm not surprised about this report of his emotions because we got it on camera for years. He's
right,
a nut bar essentially.
Right. I don't expect most actors or actresses to be exactly sane.
No, not at all. And I think that's the most fascinating thing that comes out of Hollywood is up until social media, all these actors have been idolized. Oh my gosh, they're so awesome. But when you actually get a slice of their real life personality, you're like, oh, these people are fucked up.
Yeah, they're terrible usually.
Yes.
And they're
terrible.
narcissists. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, good luck, Alec Baldwin. You won't see any punishment at all for the crime you committed. Congratulations. Isn't that sad, though, that we all know what's coming? Like, even if he is,
Yeah.
like, we all know the results of this, you know?
Yeah.
So,
He's definitely not going to see the inside of a jail cell at all.
No.
You know, you said something a minute ago, the idea of like they're going to lean on the mental health side of this. Isn't that really where a lot of this shit happened, like in society, where we're like, yeah, we're not going to have mental institutions anymore. We're not going to try to help people or put them away for if they're really fucked up. We're just going to let them roam the streets. That sounds like a good idea. Don't you feel like that kind of was really where this all kind of started to tip? Then you had social media on top of it, and that's kind of how we're at in 2024.
Well, yeah, but the people in power realized that they can actually, instead of it was more beneficial for them to weaponize mental illness than it was to actually help it. So they figured that now they can let the crazies roam free and just validate the crazies and use them to their advantage. So that's really what they do.
You're right. You are oppressed. You are oppressed. Now go burn something down.
Yeah, go fight for your rights. They're trying to take it away from you. They're trying to literally off you. I was going to say the other word, but they're trying to off you. You know, go fight, go burn the streets down. Just don't do it near my neighborhood. That's all. That's all I'm asking.
That's right. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Well, you saw what happened when they did, right? Not to derail.
You
the train,
leave
but,
Martha's Vineyard alone.
yeah, when they went to the actual politicians' like home area, she called them animals. Like, all right, I guess.
Almost like, and hear me out here, they don't actually believe what they preach. It's almost like that. It's crazy.
No, that's not possible, is it?
Hey, but let me tell you what is possible as I move into our next story here. The first, who's ready for Gears of War 6?
Can't say I am.
I
didn't play 5 or 4.
Well, Gears of War 6 news is apparently coming this summer. Congratulations. We kind of talked about that briefly in a previous show, but so Gears of War 6, I guess at a certain point, do we really care about Gears anymore? Has Gears gone the way of Halo, where it's like it's just kind of a thing that has this hardcore audience, but for the most part, it's just kind of this thing that people enjoyed at one point, and now that it's long past its welcome?
Can you put it on the same level as Halo? Even like I agree with your assessment of where Gears sits, but Gears is down here in Halo. Like even back in the day, man, like Gears was huge, all of them. But when Halo 3 came out, nobody cared about Gears. And the ODST and all the other stuff seemed to be a lot more popular than whatever Gears put out. But I was a Gears fanatic, and even I can't be bothered anymore. That franchise is dead. The story's done. There's nothing else to do.
I thought I heard the first 3 were really fun, and then 4 and 5 are just trash. And like, how old is that guy gotta be? Like, even if you like bring him back up, Craig, he looks so old and exhausted. Like, his name's what? Marcus, right? Dom dies. Yep. That's Marcus. Like, look how old he is. Let the dead rest.
Well, they say the same about me, but it's all right.
Yeah, but he definitely got this face where, damn, they're bringing me back again.
Yeah,
because they can't have creativity to make anything that's going to actually do well these days.
He's lethal weapon in this shit. You know, I'm too old for this shit. Like it's got at a certain point, he's got to be like, no, I'm done, guys. Come on, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, real quick, Extra Zero came in with the $4.99. Says, don't care who I trigger with this take, but despite the fact that DSP is a terrible person, those who are terminally obsessed with him online are as bad, in my opinion. Thanks, Extra Zero. Janice came in and says, Blabs, did you get your Ethernet cable issue resolved? I'm not surprised that Side Scroll is one of the top video game podcasts on Apple Podcast in Canada. That's right. We're number 3 in Canada. Let's go, which is great. It's outstanding. Dwight Power says, I've seen a live I've seen a live Star Wars sex show at a stag party a few years ago. I've never been able to look at lightsabers the same way ever since. Wow. Congratulations.
That got dark.
Yeah. Yeeks. The True Doster came in, says, to paraphrase Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z, let's not make excuses for actors' erratic behavior. There's no reason for lashing out despite personality defects. Yes. Thank you very much, True Doster. And Kratos El Kratos, my boy, came in with the $20 super chat. So shout out to Alec Baldwin's finger. We're having a blast in Vegas. We're going to go fire some big old blast pipes. Kratos El Kratos, great to see you, buddy. I look forward to seeing you very shortly. I'm going to hang out with Kratos on Friday afternoon, which is great. Also, not to be outdone, hey, check it out. Junkyard has picked up the brand new Side Scrollers All-Star t-shirt. Go pick it up right now until the end of the month. Also, Golden Avatar also picked one up right now. Awesome. Thank you so much, Golden Avatar, picking up the Side Scrollers All-Star t-shirt. Link is in the description. It says, hot take incoming. Donkey Kong Country 3 is the greatest of the series. That's interesting. Well, I have not played Donkey Kong Country 3 to its expiration. I'm still working on DKC 2. But I'll say this. This afternoon, I planned to play Possessions on Monday. And then I had some business happen, which didn't allow me to do that. I'm going to play Possessions today, this afternoon, over on Side Scrollers Place, which if you recall, we talked about that about a month ago. It's a great indie game. Possessions, and I'm going to be giving away codes so you can play with me. So if you guys want to play with me, then join me over on the Side Scrollers Plays channel. I got a bunch of codes. But I'm going to go and finish up Donkey Kong Country 2 next week and then move on to DKC 3 following that. So Golden Avatar, you can find that over on the Plays channel, which is great. All right. Awesome. Let's keep on moving on. Hey, speaking of games that have been around for a long ass time, man, Call of Duty, like games that are still relevant, like the Call of Duty is as relevant as it's ever been. I mean, they've done a good job of modifying with things over the time, over the last 15, 16, 17 years since they really released Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. And they've kind of obviously rebooted that a couple times or whatever. But the microtransactions are getting a little silly. As over here on IGN, you can see that Call of Duty has a brand new King Kong themed microtransaction that asks players to fork out $80 in Call of Duty points to get the Beast Glove so you can punch as hard as Kong.
That's so stupid. So stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it goes without saying it's stupid.
It's incredible. It's just whatever happened to actually just being Call of Duty where you actually just, you're shooting like you're in the war. Not freaking whatever.
See, I'm kind of all over the place with this because is it dumb? Sure.
I know where you're going with this. I agree.
This is like gamers do it to themselves, man. They do it to themselves. The reason why you have this existing in the first place is because gamers allowed it. And this is why it's hard to sympathize sometimes with certain arguments from people, especially in the Gamergate 2.0 thing right now. Like it's hard to sympathize because a lot of the issues that we have right now as gamers is through our own fault. Like we not everybody obviously, but like a lot of people allowed it. And there's a small percentage they call whales that basically support this stuff nonstop. But even so, I mean, for a game like Call of Duty, I mean, to charge $80 for a freaking monkey fist is like if you're mad at that, half the people should probably look in the mirror and ask yourself, did you buy a DLC? Did you buy a $40 DLC before? Did you buy a $50 one? Because they keep edging it higher and higher every single time. And they're going to charge more for something that is licensed also. So if they got to pay for the name, then they're going to charge you ridiculous money for it.
They're trying to make this like a Fortnite.
Oh, well, yeah, they're well on their way with that. Let me ask you this, guys. Let's play the Price is Right game. I always like to play this game. Activision's revenue just for microtransactions in 2021. I don't have the numbers in the last 3 years, but the microtransaction revenue from Activision as a company in 2021. Jeff, your thoughts?
$2.9 billion.
2.9 billion with a B dollars. Hypnotic.
Well, so for me, it's not even about the money because no matter how much money you're about to tell me right now, ultimately you got to think about the fact that they're still laying off people. They're still firing people, which makes it even more ridiculous, whatever number you're about to spit out. But if I had to guess, it's definitely somewhere in 5 to 10 billion, probably. If I had to guess. Maybe even more.
I'm kind of like towards Jeff. I was thinking 3 to 4 billion, or even 5.
According to the leading source of Microsoft Activision microtransaction news, omsoft.com, $5.1 billion in microtransaction revenue. $5.1 billion. That's in addition to you buying the game already. So it's not stopping anytime soon, kids. And you know
It's
what?
going to get worse.
People are slowly going back to it again, too, because they just brought back the Rebirth Island map. And everyone loves that one. So now they're like, oh, let me go play for the nostalgia. And I was like, dude, that's a great map, but I won't do it. I have principles.
You also have people disingenuously trying to say, well, it's most of that money is whales and streamers. I'm like, no, bro, it's not. Like, you don't get to $5 billion plus with just streamers and a couple of whales. You just don't. Like, you're not admitting the fact that a lot of gamers are participating in this stuff. You know, when you play, I guarantee you right now, when you play Call of Duty, you're gonna see an ungodly amount of people rocking that monkey fist. And you mean to tell me they're all streamers and whales? No, I don't believe that.
Well, Blabs made a great point about they're already, used to this. Gamers are conditioned at a younger age too with Fortnite and some of those games. You got to buy in and add it. Like, we're of the older generation with games where you buy a cartridge or a disc and it's complete. I never buy the DLC Hypnotic. I think it's bullshit. If I'm buying like $1 song for Rock Band, or if I'm getting a new wrestler or a skater or somebody, that's a little different. I don't like season passes or packs or aesthetic things. I think those are kind of stupid in my opinion. And you're right. You can't have $5 billion worth of income from people like us that are, up on this stuff. Everybody buys it. And I think really it goes back to phones. Because how many people, a buck here, a buck there, whatever. Now it's on the mobile, or it went from mobile to, console gaming. Maybe it will be in a future where, games cost way more because of we're already here. Never mind. Thanks, Grand Theft Auto.
That's right. $70 games. That's right.
That's the reason why Grand Theft Auto 6 took so long to come out, because why would you let the cow go away? You can build Grand Theft Auto Online endlessly, and people were just paying it. The amount of money they made from Grand Theft Auto 5 is stupid. It is beyond stupid. And that was advocated for by the player base. So I mean, if the player base of Grand Theft Auto was willing to keep spending the money and keep supporting it and keep Grand Theft Auto Online alive, and at the same time complain that Grand Theft Auto 6 was taking too long to come out, I feel like that's a bit of an oxymoron. You're the reason why it's taking so long to come out in the first place. There's got to be a level of self-accountability at some point, and I think that gamers really struggle with that sometimes when it comes to the discussion of microtransactions and how much they spend and money and all that.
I think all entertainment consumers suffer that problem, because why did Star Wars make $1 billion even though we all hate the sequels? Like, people do just commit. Well, they can't help it.
So with the Star Wars thing, though, the level of hatred that is for Star Wars right now and Disney was nowhere near when those movies came out, the recent 3 movies. People when the first movie came out, people were still kind of hyped about it because it wasn't quite there yet. Then they started realizing, what's happening with Rey and whatnot. I think now, and I've said this in a video recently, I think it's coming out today, actually. I would be very curious to see what 3 new movies would do now with the current mindset.
I don't think there's a current mindset. I think this is the same mindset we had a couple of years back. Oh, you're talking about from the consumer base. I'm sorry. I don't think they'd make it. Yeah. I don't think any of them would make $1 billion. It's like when Rise of Skywalker barely edges by and Joker's more successful. I think that people kind of spoke with that. And it was a lot of like you go from 2 billion with the first one to just over $1 billion. That's half your audience. That morbid curiosity, a lot of normies and a lot of repeat viewers went away. And, but, because people keep going back, like all the Rey movies are $1 billion pictures. We're going to get another one. I like your assessment though, on the consumers being responsible for where we are.
Sure. I think that's very fair. We're talking about.
You think that $1 billion movie is gonna? Do you think that movie that they're making with Rey is gonna break $1 billion?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
There's no
Luke
Leia.
I think it'll get close, but I don't think it'll break $1 billion.
We're about to learn that.
We're gonna go see it.
Yes.
Branding is not as powerful on people as you think. Nostalgia is there for iconic branding, but it's because people go to see these characters. Look at the new Ghostbusters. It's a fine movie, not that great, but it's a new generation of Ghostbusters. It makes less. People want the characters. And I think producers of entertainment need to understand, like when we get to the Star Wars game, it doesn't matter the world I live in. I want to play as the characters. I relate and have an emotional response to their struggles or their stories. So I would like for entertainment to stop. Gaming, movies, anything. It's the characters, not the world.
Here's the big question I have for the Star Wars movie, right? Will it be an official, like, does it have an actual numeral attached to it?
Oh, no, it's not going to be like episode 10.
No.
Okay, if it was, then I think it would break $1 billion, right? But the fact that it's just like a subtitle, that
at least that's what they're saying now. Maybe they'll change it last minute, like episode 10, what up?
Right. And I think that's the key. When you throw a numeral attached to it, people go, oh, okay, I hated the last 3, but I got to do it. And they got to go do it, and that's the reality. Is you guys said it earlier, it's the normie, right? We live in, like, the people who watch our show, like we have the sane side of the world, right? We have normal people who watch our show, right? But they're in tune with what's happening online in the space and the feeling that permeates in the online space. And but the people who will ultimately go see those movies are the moms, the dads who are looking to get their kids into what they loved before, and the nostalgia attached to that. The parents may not be super happy with it, but it's an opportunity to get their kids attached to something that they loved because there's a nostalgia attached to it. So anyways, but let's go and move on. We're talking about the DLC attached to these games, and the that DLC was $80. But Saber Interactive, the CEO of Saber Interactive, has come out and says that he thinks $70 games will eventually be a thing of the past. He says, I just don't think it's sustainable. This story is from videogamechronicle.com over here, as he says that he thinks that $70 games will go the way of the dodo, as he talked about it, speaking with IGN. He's talking about specifically the price of the games and how he doesn't think it's sustainable. I think that as games become more expensive to make, the $70 title is going to go the way of the dodo bird, which is extinct, obviously. I don't think it's sustainable. Look, you remember the hype for Cyberpunk, which I think actually ultimately performed okay. But when the expectations are so high and so much money is put on one title, it's hugely risky for a company that's doing that. What if it fails? You remember what happened when Ubisoft a couple years ago, all their titles slipped out of the year, and then all of a sudden they were in an entirely different place? It's hard to recover from that. I think the market is going to shift to development, which is not necessarily lower quality, but there's going to be an emphasis on trying to find ways to reduce cost. And as pointed out, this is with the thousands of jobs being cut across the industry over the last year and a half. It says, I think there's going to be a real shortage of game content over the coming few years. You've seen with how many layoffs there have been. You've seen how many games have gotten killed. But we have a lot of good projects going on, and I'm proud of that. And I feel really, really strong about that. Well, of course you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't have greenlit them. Okay, so the idea of $70 games. I've said this many, many times. If I have a $100 million budget to work with, I'm not making a game. I'm making 10 games. Like I'm going to cast the net as wide as I possibly can. And I think that's where we're at with a lot of these studios, is they're spending so much. I mean, these games are generating ridiculous revenue, but they also are costing ridiculous amounts of money. $100 million, $200 million, $300 million games. It's like, in what world does that make sense at all? Because you have to hit. It goes back to the idea of what we see with movies all the time. If you have a $100 million movie, you're going to spend another $100 million on marketing, and you got to make $200 million to break even. And that's ridiculous. I don't know. Y'all's thoughts on the idea of a $70 game? And would you rather play indie titles that are $35 as opposed to a AAA $70 game?
Well, what does he mean? Does he, in which direction? Does he mean it's not sustainable that you have to charge more, or it's not sustainable you have to charge less?
I think he wants to charge less.
I thought he wanted to charge more.
Well, I thought it was less when I saw it, but when I heard it, it was more. It seems like to me. Okay, well, let's talk about that then. As pointed out with this great super chat, is in 60 watt is correct. It says, I know people are upset about $70 games, but $70 today is a lot less than $60 20 years ago.
we talked about the inflation associated with buying games, and the games technically now are cheaper than they've ever been, despite being $70, just from a dollars and cents standpoint.
Right.
I mean, I remember buying, I think it was Super Metroid was like $80 or $90 when it came out. $79.99, I think, or $89.99 on the Super Nintendo, which is like $150 today, you know?
Yeah.
So yes, games are technically cheaper than they've ever been, but the price tag associated with them is higher. I don't know. Which way do you think it goes? Do you think the games go up? Are they $100 games in the next 5 years? Are they $40 games?
If they're AAA games, I imagine they're going to keep going up. I think how long it took for it to go from 60 to 70 was a lot longer than they probably wanted. I would imagine that they wanted to go to 70 a lot faster. But I remember, I think it was PlayStation. I don't remember where I read it. It was a while ago, where they basically said they were afraid to do that, especially during the midlife of a console, because they didn't want to rock the boat, and they waited till the next gen experience to up the price. But I think they're kind of regretting either one or two things. Either they are regretting that they didn't do it sooner, or they're regretting not bumping it up more, being too afraid to bump it up more. Because honestly, like you said, the costs of these games are higher than most Hollywood movies, and it is becoming unsustainable to the point where that's why they're all trying to do live service games now, because that's really the only way in theory you can support this, right? So you get the initial bump, which probably won't cover all your costs, but then you hope that after a few months of microtransactions and live service that you'll make your money back. And then if you get a player base that's sustainable, now you got a revenue stream, you know? So every game seems like it's trying to go some sort of live service model, and I think it's for that reason. So.
Yeah. To bounce off of you, as you know, somebody who owns a business with comics and stuff, I always take into account what the audience is going to get versus what the price is. And you brought up the whole point of games being technically cheaper, but 10 years ago, or whenever the generation was, I could trust that my game was complete. And I understand patches and updates have been a thing for 20 years more on PC. I'm not late to the party, but I also didn't get garbage and then was told to wait for the DLC. And so if they're going to keep doing that, that's going to be a problem. But if they charge $100 for a game, it better be perfect, and there's no excuses, and there's no DLC. Like if you're getting $100 out of me, and I buy Call of Duty, which I don't, there's nothing wrong with it. But like if I buy that first-person shooter, I better get every gun. I better get all the crap. There's no more buying to get ahead in the game. There's no more crap. Like gaming's broken in a way because like people either suck at it, you can pay to beat it, or you can just mod it or stuff like that. But if you're good at gaming, or if you're trying to do that stuff, there's just like so many things that like take away the fun and the challenge. Like you brought up Metroid, Craig. That's a hard game. When you paid $80 in 1994, you got $80 worth of time out of that. Today, I get it. Games cost $200 million, and Grand Theft Auto is huge, but like the experience is very thin. So that's why I would never pay more than where we are currently until you give me a product consistently across the board from all developers that blows my socks off.
Yeah, I'm with Jeff on this. I feel like all the games are going to start to get, at least AAA games, are going to be like $100 eventually.
Triple gay
games, Labs?
AAA games.
I definitely heard triple gay games.
Listen,
Sorry,
you know what? The way these games are going, they are.
Well, can I
They're
mention
all
one thing? The problem with going live service too, the issue with that is eventually you get a flooded market. And with a flooded market, you're not going to be able to, if your entire goal is to only survive with a live service model, eventually there's going to be too many, and there's just not enough gamers to go around. I know they have this crazy number where like, I don't know, 2 billion people in the world are gamers, but out of that 2 billion, how many are mobile? You know, like you're only going to, if you're going the AAA live service route, you're only going to have so many gamers to choose from, and you cannot bank on the fact that you're going to have a sustainable fan base that's going to make your money back. I mean, Suicide Squad's probably the best example of that. You know, aside from all the crazy nonsense in that game with Sweet Baby Inc., ultimately they spent $200 million on a game that barely sold enough to make anywhere close to the money they spent. Now they got to make all that back with live service, and they don't have a fan base to make it back with. So what are you doing? Right? It's like completely lost money.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, talking about, I always like pulling up the old catalog advertisements from back in the day. Someone still in the chat. I'm sorry, I missed your name. I didn't get a chance to start and pull it up, but they said, where did you get Super Metroid for like $80? And the answer was at the store. Because here's this. This is the price of Nintendo games back in the day. Super Mario, $64.44. Final Fantasy, $65. Battletoads, $63. These were $60 games on the Nintendo Entertainment System in the late 80s, maybe early 90s. I'm guessing
this is 1990, I think, because Super Mario 3 is brand new at the time, and that's a 90 game. So we're 24 years ago, or 34 years ago, excuse me.
Wow.
Right. So
You also got to look at how many games were available at that time, though.
Yeah.
Well, Nintendo was slick limiting people in terms of, you know, the chip and all that stuff. But you're talking about flooded market. We've seen flooded markets. We've also seen a weird flooded market nobody talks about in that like weird end of the thousands. They kept trying to put out new types of games, new ways to consume. And I feel like, you know, like the card reader, things like that. There's always little ways to try to like gimmick a game, and they never work. Look at Nintendo. They try to do the e-readers and this and that. I think modern DLC and live services are kind of like the digital e-reader, where I get it. It's a thing. There's money behind it, but I don't think it's sustainable forever, to the point where if we build our entire game industry on this, it'll eventually collapse. And then what? A bunch of empty games that nobody can play because the server's down? That kills gaming.
Hey, I mean, just plus too, Craig spent. I'm sorry, Craig. Go ahead. My bad.
I was saying, just a quick look at the inflation calculator from 1990 to today, 2024. A 64-44 game is the equivalent of $154 per game. So when the games reach $100 per game, they'll still be going, it's cheaper than it was in 1990. You know, so
right.
So is a car, so is your house.
Yeah, but you're paying for all this buggy stuff that doesn't even work on release, and you have to wait, like Jeff was saying, you have to wait for a DLC and a little quick fix or up
day one patch.
Oh, you know, EA Games would be like, we know this game sucks, and we launched it anyway. Oopsies. So, you know.
And not everybody here in the US has good internet speed, so if you live out in the middle of nowhere, you could be hosed and you have a broken disc.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say
what that internet bit for later.
With Craig, with the Metroid thing, at least when you spent that money, you owned the game, the entire game. You know, you have the physicality aspect too that people tend to forget. You know, $64.99, whatever it was for those games, you owned it. Like even if you weren't a collector, you still had it. And if you ever want to boot it up and play it, it'll play from start to finish the way it was intended. Now you're paying, you know, $70 for digital games, and you never own it because obviously it's in their terms of service. And you know, like Blaz was saying, they're broken. Half the time you got to wait for a day one patch or whatever. It's a terrible excuse that a lot of them use. Like, well, it's cheaper now. Well, you're giving us crap now, so it doesn't really matter. Like, we're paying more for crap. You know, it's not like we're paying less for gold. We're paying more for crap. That's how I view it.
Well, I'll tell you what, you bring up a really good, point of owning the games, and we've talked about the push that's happening right now for some of these game companies to be accountable for removing these games that you purchased. We'll get to that in just a minute, but first, as pointed out by Westward Smile says, but in 1990 you could rent games too. That's right. I guess my only counter to that would be like there's demos today, maybe. I guess possibly. Barely. Ian came in with 10 gifted memberships. Let's go, Ian. Thank you very much. Hey, guess what? Hypnotic. You get to choose what color goes on the wall today. Do you want blue, orange, yellow, green, purple, or red? What are we going with today, buddy?
Red.
Red it is. Sounds good. Hey, Ian, thank you. What's that?
That's exactly
just like his eyes.
Just like exactly. Ian, thank you very much for your support. If you guys got gifted a membership from Ian, make sure you say a thank you and consider paying it forward. We'd greatly appreciate that, as that puts us at 10 memberships for the day. Our goal is always 25. Look at that, Ian. Look at it right there. Oh, we have a new register.
Look at Craig and his color coding. So cute.
I'm trying to make it pretty. Sometimes it just looks like a color gets thrown up on the wall, but today it looks perfect.
Skittles taste the rainbow.
Right. Ian, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Let's hit some of these super chats while we have an opportunity before we get into our next story. And we have some fans, Blabs. We have some fans that have been watching the show, and they had some critiques on the show. So we'll get to that in just a little bit as well. Nissan says, question for the panel. Do you think that the video game industry will get a bailout from the Fed when the crash happens, or will it get ignored?
Ignored?
Yeah, I think it'll get ignored. I think it's an entertainment industry. It's I think that most likely Yeah, I mean, we all know this crash is going to happen, right? It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. You're starting to see it with people getting fired left and right. I mean, the industry is not in a positive place right now because why? The consumers are speaking with their wallets. So,
Yep.
And what happens if there is a crash? Like, people have more free time, they'll go to other games. Like, I don't think there'll ever be a world where the game industry crashes and nobody has anything to play. You just go to Nintendo or somewhere else. So I think the big third parties can have a way to crash and burn, but I think you're like Nintendo and certain things will always be there because they do stuff differently. They may not have the most powerful system, but they got my trust as a consumer. So,
well, and you have an entire backlog of content. And like that you have to play, you know, I saw Grums yesterday, and we'll get to the Lara Croft thing here in a minute with Tomb Raider. But you know, he was saying like, just don't buy AAA games the next 2 years. Play your back catalog, you know. And I think everybody has a back catalog of games to play for sure. Hey, Mo wants to know when Blabs is gonna do a Hot Dog Empire stream.
Dude, maybe I should. That'd be funny.
60 Watt says, I like DKC3, but DKC2 is better. No hate, only truth. Thanks, 60 Watt. Followed up one more time, says hot take, Call of Duty should have died over a decade ago. Well, they don't agree with their billions of dollars they're generating. Kyle came in and says, that is why I play arena-based shooters like Halo and not games that have loadouts on smaller maps, because at that point, it's pay to win. Jacob came in and says, I would argue it's the opposite of whales. It's the normies. It's the gamers who only played COD, GTA, Fortnite, or any other EA game. Once they were generating that billions for sure. Yep. But the whales certainly do play part of it.
It's digital fast food, man. People aren't going to stop eating McDonald's anytime soon, and their burgers are shit. So, I mean,
right
there you go.
Yeah, I'm just
like
going to be
Diablo Immortal, same thing.
Listen, everybody knows McDonald's burgers suck, but they are pretty good every once in a while.
Oh yeah, when you're drinking.
Speaking of fast food Empire is not available on Steam for me to play.
Sorry, Blabs. Sorry to ruin your day.
I'll survive.
Nissan came in and says, GTA Online is the reason why Rockstar doesn't make story expansions for their games anymore. In my opinion, multiplayer is what killed gaming. Much easier to monetize.
Preach.
If you're looking for stories, yeah, I don't disagree. Initial C says, the last game I bought was the Pocky and Rocky remake on Switch. I paid $40 and got a physical copy. Quality game, and I was fine with the price. Good for you, Initial C. Robin Wheels came in with the $10 European monies. Says personal responsibility is like common sense these days. It barely exists. Absolutely. Agreed. Saint G came in, says Rockstar spends 100 to 200 millions on a game and gains profit in the month of release. Of course, that's due to name recognition of the game. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Uriah came in and says, man, these old school games would have cost a lot more. Also, what's up, Mr. Shitter? Just kidding, Jeff.
That's the old name they'd call me on the show. What up, Uriah?
Hey, thanks. Jacob says, how is this not going to cause another video game crash? I don't know, like I said, I think everybody kind of sees the writing on the wall for sure. Cassius Victus came in and says, increase in income has not kept up with inflation to justify the increase. AAA publishers aren't paying attention to their audience, giving rise to AA games. Yes, Cassius, thank you very much. And Dude came in over on Rumble, says season passes were fine when we actually got substantial additional content, like how Borderlands DLC used to be. Now we get stuff that should have been in the base game. I think that's a lot of people's main argument with a lot. I don't remember which game it was, but I remember vividly remember hearing, I think it was, God, I want to say it was a Capcom game where the DLC was on the disc and it was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's already done. It's right there. And I don't remember. I mean, it was probably a decade, 10, 12 years ago. I remember hearing that for the first time. And that was a big hubbub back in the day. But I'll tell you, we have talked about these live service games. And this is very interesting, a response to that. Now, The Crew is shut down. And this is a game that was bought in 2000, or that came out in 2015. She's shut down 9 years ago. And this got passed around a little bit over on X. And if this is true, this could fuck over live service companies. as this person says they were able to get a refund on the PlayStation version of The Crew after buying it in 2015, a refund of $94.99 because the game has been removed from the marketplace. This is crazy. This is bought the game in 2015, and I didn't play the game that much since then. And in March 31st, 2024, after 9 years, I contacted PlayStation support and got me my refund back because the game wasn't working anymore. For my surprise, they actually refunded it. I think this is huge. Like, this is massive and could set like a massive precedent just from this simple transaction. The idea, one thing you need to keep in mind is that when a refund takes place, that money is coming out of the company of both the developer and the publisher of the game. Those are two separate things, obviously. Right. The publisher funds it, and the developer develops it, obviously, using the funds from the publisher. I could see this being a major issue for a company like Ubisoft that is, sunsetting these live service games like The Crew. Could you imagine if 100,000 people went in and they asked for a refund of this game? How quickly that could change things? Hypnotic, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it is a small way to hold them kind of accountable. I mean, they basically killed the game, right? Because Crew is essentially was sold on its online aspect, I believe. So by removing it from the market and just kind of killing off the game, I feel like that's, hey, if they're actually willing to refund, I don't know. It depends also on how much this person actually played the game too, because I think the PlayStation has like a few hour kind of clause or something like that. So if you only played it for like an hour, it could have just been a late refund that he could have had anyway. We don't really know. We would have to see an example on a mass scale to see if other people are able to actually get their money back, and if they are, I think that's great, man. If this is the problem with live service games, right? They sell you on the fact that it is supposed to be a continuously updated live service game. So if they suddenly just kill the game off and you can't even access it anymore because it's online only or whatever the case would be, and they shut the service down, then what are you supposed to do? Just be like, well, okay, I guess my game's done. Doesn't work anymore. I don't know.
That's the crazy part, because there's no other consumer product that's acceptable to buy and have a finite amount of time on. Like, right. I mean, they want you to upgrade. This is what kind of started a lot of this shit too. But like in general, like all my toys, I own those. Like, they're not going to come in and take them or this and that. Like, you essentially don't own anything, which sucks. Like, that meme's the truth. And right. I don't know. I don't like it, man.
Look at Diablo 4. If they were to, let's say, one day just turn the servers off on Diablo 4, what are you gonna do? What can you even do?
Nothing. You can complain into the ether, but again, like, I love that I can go pull out any cartridge on a Nintendo game and it's gonna play, or an old PlayStation disc or something. It's right. Not even brand loyalty. It's just like your car. Is your car just gonna, I'm not going to go into comparisons anymore. It's garbage. We don't like it. I've said my piece.
Right. And this is discussed pretty in depth over on Reddit. This person says, I thought you could only get a game within 14 days, get a discount within 14 days of owning something. And this person responds to, normally, yes, but in this case, where the developer basically took the game away, there's this gray area. If they refund everyone who purchased the game, I feel like they would then try to Ubisoft to repay them. Ubisoft would definitely end up feeling the pain for sure. I mean, now, to be clear, this was done not in the United States. This took place overseas, and you can just tell from the language associated with it. I'm going to guess this is over in the Middle East.
Interesting.
But this could be that slippery slope that happens. And honestly, good. I think this is great. The idea that you're only renting these games when you're paying a purchase price, if they sold it as that, if there was a giant marker on it said this game will be available for 5 years and that's our commitment to you, or 10 years, or whatever it may be, or 1 year, I think people would be more accepting to that idea. Hey, but to kind of say, okay, well, it's done now because we can't make money on it. I think this could be huge. I really do. I think this could be a massive exploit that it's not even an exploit. I think it's the right thing to do. I don't even think it's an exploit at all. I think it's just something that these companies are going to have to figure out a way to handle this. But this simple transaction has set a precedent moving ahead that, hey, you did it for that guy, why not for me? So,
well, it brings back the argument before about the cost of games now versus before. So like if you were paying $60, $70 before, like we said, you would get the entire experience. You can boot it up today. It'll be the same exact experience as of when you bought it ages ago. So yeah, games are cheaper now, technically, if you want to account for inflation. But the problem is you're not actually buying a game. You're not buying it. You're actually just renting it, like you said. So technically, even though it's cheaper, it's not, because I guarantee you renting was much cheaper back then than it is now. If you're gonna classify buying a game now as renting because you don't actually own it, even a disc, you don't actually own it, because if they were to do something, like if they were to, I don't know, mess with it, even if you buy a live service game on a disc, you still don't own it. So technically you're renting. So technically you're actually spending a lot more money because you could rent it for much cheaper back in the day if you want to make the same comparison. It's just you're not actually owning the game anymore. So
yeah,
right.
$5 back in the day got you a copy from Blockbuster.
Not anymore, baby. Not anymore. Well, I guess, I'm curious to see if anybody who has any sort of live service games, if you will attempt in the chat, I'm talking about you in the chat, if you will go to PlayStation, go to Xbox, and say, hey, or even Nintendo. I think of like Animal Crossing, if that happens, could you go to them and ask for a refund? Who knows? Lord J says, don't disagree with any of y'all's points about live service, but you have to admit Helldivers 2 is doing all right. Yes, for sure, Lord J. It's been,
yes and no, I would say. They have a lot of bugs. I mean, they did say, like, at first, don't buy the game because our servers are overwhelmed. You won't be able to play. And that's pretty honorable as compared to, like, EA saying, we fucked up. You buy it anyway. But at the same time, there are still really, like, honestly, game-breaking bugs where you can't actually join other people's squads. And it affects people slightly where it's like, oh, you just can't join that random person, or you just can't join anybody, and that's still going on. So that bug, it's pun intended, needs to be fixed.
Master Bader says the crew is a bad example because it's an old MMO. There are a lot of MMOs that are dead now. Once the player base drops, servers cost too much. Yes, that is true. Absolutely. But at the same time, once again, it has been refunded. So, and it goes back to, is there a certain window if you play the game for X number of hours, once you pass that threshold, you can no longer get a refund? I don't know.
Isn't that inherently the problem though with all of this service? It costs forever to keep it as a service. Game studios, publishers, developers should realize that and not push for that, because it's like you're making all your money now and then you have to keep paying to do it. Does it cost Nintendo to sell No, they don't even sell it on cartridge anymore, but it's just there. So I think it's a stupid thing for them too, if you think about it. Well,
Activision disagrees as they're rolling in their billions from all their DLC and season passes and stuff. Patriotic Gestalt says, any thoughts on the City of Heroes model? Let someone else host the MMO, but don't sue them. Yeah, I think I'm vaguely familiar with that process, but that's where a lot of this comes back to, is the companies are running these servers themselves, and they have the ability to shut them down at any time, which ultimately leads to what happened with the crew. Rod says, I'm still salty. Salty PlayStation canceled the sequel for Days Gone. Still hypes me that post main game scene. Instead, they used the team to work on the canceled The Last of Us and now those guys will be doing a LSG.
Live service game. Live service game.
Yeah. Thank you, Rod. Appreciate that. And Masturbator says, yes, server cost is the problem. Indeed. All right, let's move on. Now, look, we've grown a lot in the last year. We've been around for just over 13, 14 months now. It's been a great run. We've been kicking some ass, and a lot of you guys have found us in the last 6 months or so as we've continued to grow and speak common sense. And we've had a lot of new fans come on the show, and we appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for finding us. And some people are happy with the show, and some people, listen, they have their critiques of the show, and we always want to listen to those critiques. And this was sent my way, and I'm not quite sure who this person is, but their name is Alyssa Mercante, and they said, I try to tune in to live streams of some of GG's biggest supporters, but I can't listen to side scrollers. It's so deeply, deeply uninteresting and unfunny. Is it a coincidence that the hardest grifters have terrible on-screen personalities? It's horrific. Mistimed, misworded joke after mistimed, misworded joke, peppered with toothless attempts to take down detractors and incredibly grating voices. If I listen too long, I genuinely believe I will shave years off my life.
I'm pretty sure the STD she has will do that. But anyway, continue.
Oof. Just like hateful eyeliner Barbie, one host clearly does not have the voice or personality to do this work and has decided supporting hate campaigns will be your ticket to mid. I'm not a good singer, so I gave up on my rock star dreams. That's always an option. Listen, first and foremost, Alyssa Mercante, I'd like to invite you to finally come on the show. And most importantly, teach us all how to do comedy. Teach us, Alyssa. Teach us how to do this. And also teach us how to show off your butthole to make money. I would really love that if you could come on and do that. You've been making the rounds, so come on over and join us and teach us how to podcast at any time. The invite is always open, but you're there. Blabs?
Yeah.
I'm sorry that she assumed your gender.
I know. I'm honestly her. She doesn't even know my pronouns. I gotta say this one thing though.
Yes.
I interact with her many times on Twitter because for some reason she always responds to me. And every single time I've interacted with her, I told her she had a smelly vagina.
Nice.
She's always responded to that. And it's like, man, out of all the things. And then eventually she blocked me. But then she goes and makes tweets about us. And it's like, bro, if you're such a coward to block and then talk about us, you're spineless.
Well,
also,
the point is
we live in your head rent free.
I know. Like, I invited her on the show once. But like I said, I just wanted to give an opportunity once again for you to come on the show and for lack of a better term, stop being a smelly pussy and actually come on and have a conversation, which would be great. Which we all know you're not going to do, but the invite is there. And at any time you'd like to come on and stop being a smelly pussy, you can do that. So come on and stop being a smelly pussy.
Yeah.
And butthole.
And chat is saying who she was referring to. I believe she was referring to myself and Melanie. She was calling Melanie evil Barbie eyeliner, and then she said and. So I'm assuming it's both of us. All the women.
All of the women, which you know, she has problems with you. She has problems with men. And hey, sounds like
tattooed that on her what? Her disgusting leg or whatever it was, all bloody.
It smells like a her problem. I'm sorry, did I say smells? It seems like a her problem.
You know, sorry, I know The Rock is very relevant this week because of the whole wrestling thing, but he has one final message for Alyssa.
Shut up, bitch!
Yes! I was just there at that, so I'm happy to see The Rock.
You were there? That's
cool.
Yeah,
I go every year. We got back last night, so good time.
Yes. Love it. Let's go and continue on. We got to get into the Star Wars Outlaws stuff as well as the Tomb Raider stuff. What do we want to hit on first? We want to go the Star Wars.
I want to talk Star Wars because we also have Jeff on here, and so perfect.
All right, so here we go. We got the new trailer for Star Wars Outlaw, which is coming out. It just got released, and the pushback is real with Star Wars. Like I don't have a dog or a pony. Dog in the race, pony in the race. I don't have a
dog or a pony. I got no goats.
I don't
no
have any of these things.
Either.
What the hell? It's ridiculous. But so I don't really care when it comes to Star Wars stuff. Like, you know, it's very obvious that a lot of people do, and that's great. Mm-hmm. But what is interesting is kind of the pushback associated with this trailer, specifically the main character coming out of Star Wars Outlaw. Now, The trailer was released. Blabs, what did you think of the overall trailer, which I'm not going to play
Very
because
generic
copyright.
and honestly unoriginal, especially because it's a smuggler and it's like she's Han Solo but female, so she's Hannah Solo, and supposedly she's like a ripoff from some expanded universe characters. I just find it very unoriginal because they keep going back in the same timeline every single time because they can't go forward, and so it's just like eventually you're not gonna have any breathing room to explore these characters, and there's gonna be canon mistakes and lore mistakes, and gonna have continuity errors, and it's just lazy and cheap writing, in my opinion.
Jeff, you a big Star Wars guy, yeah?
Yeah, was way more back in the day, aka before Disney. But Blabs, I agree with everything you've just said. I watched this trailer and I thought to myself, wow, this is just Han Solo, even to the point where she's dressed the same. Blue jacket, brown pants, like, oh, Empire Strikes Back. I get what they're trying to do. But like I had said earlier a moment ago, this is a problem with all entertainment. This trying to sell you every little minute of Star Wars. Like you brought this up, and this is something I've been saying for years. We're going to get to the point where we know exactly. Well, here's the thing. We know what Princess Leia was doing the minute before Star Wars. Okay, was that important? I guess, kind of, whatever. But then it's like we're getting to the point where, oh, this person was at this point at this time, and then they just so magically to be here. It's like you don't understand. People that make Star Wars don't really get it. And it's kind of like the game mentality where it's just more, and they worry about the problems later. So this is one of those problems that, well, I understand the pushback. I've been a Star Wars fan for a long time. People can watch the channel and hear the videos about that. I wasn't super excited about this either.
Well, here is the lead character for this game. It's a woman. Like I said, I don't think anybody really cares that it's a woman. Like people like that. That's the thing that I hear is like these people, they hate that it's a woman. No, nobody cares that it's a woman, like at all. Zero people care that, like, okay, there's going to be some people who care it's a woman, but it's like a very small percentage. The vast majority of people don't care it's a woman. What they care about is that the woman that is the model of this character doesn't look like that. She looks like this. So what the fuck? Like, how do you go from this to that? I don't understand. Hypnotic, you had some banger tweets about this, huh?
That's an understatement. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of conspiracies about it. Obviously, you know, people say they hate beautiful women. People say that, you know, they don't like femininity. You know, I personally say I think they're doing it for the trans gays. I'm kind of on with Melody Mack on that. But overall, it's just interesting, right? Because you try to sell me a story, right? You're selling me a story about how, you know, we were talking about this backstage, how you can't one-to-one characters very easily. It's hard to do. It's hard to do facial animation. It's hard to do whatever. And you got I got some comments about that I actually quote tweeted on my page, and I just basically showed them that, well, if that's the case, how come it's all the male characters don't seem to have that problem? It's only the female characters that have this issue. Every single male character you seem to be able to do perfectly fine, and yet you struggle with the women. Is it something about the woman? Perhaps it be because you're trying to change the woman's facial structure instead of just actually trying to one-to-one it. That's what seems to be the issue. Because if you look at the male characters, they're almost nearly identical, but you look at the women and there's five points that they always do. Okay. And I talked to this last night on Hypnocast with Gothic. So I was trying to explain to her, there's 5 things I always see them do, right? So number 1, they widen the jaw almost always, right? They take the angular face away and they widen the jaw. Number 2, they get rid of the hips, right? They never let the woman have hips. Usually they kind of give them like a male's body. Number 3, they tend to remove the stance that most women have when they stand still. You know, they kind of lean to one side, you know, whatever. They kind of give them a male stance, make them stand up straight. Number 4, they usually get rid of long hair. Almost usually. Not all the time, but I'm just going off just basic stuff. Yeah. And number 5, just make them fucking ugly. Like that's just they take a beautiful woman and they just completely destroy her femininity in every way imaginable, where it just basically becomes a man in a wig, you know, a man in some sort of like short hair wig. In this case, kind of like an 80s hairstyle kind of a thing going on. And then you're gonna have disingenuous people argue, well, it's Star Wars, they're not meant to be she's a bounty hunter or whatever, she's not meant to be, or smuggler, she's not meant to be she's not meant to be pretty. She's not meant to be whatever. I'm like, really? Is that the excuse you're trying to go with here for destroying her looks?
All of these excuses are garbage. As an artist, I've spent years looking at these books that teach you how to draw. There are certain things that they teach you across the board, anime, American style art, whatever, make men and women differently. We can, like, you broke it down. And I just always roll my eyes when I see this crap. I go, this is intentional, because women aren't built like this. People aren't built like this. Of course, bodies are different, but like when you're doing broad strokes for art, you do broad strokes. And this is the same crap every time. And it makes me chuckle.
It's the jaw, especially for me. Go ahead, Craig. Sorry.
Yeah, you can't say broad. I'm sorry. You can't say that.
I feel offended.
I'm sorry. Pre-cancellations. Yeah. Sorry, folks.
I do want to bounce off you guys because I have these great examples right here. But so they're literally saying that it's also a comparison to Cal Kestis, an already existing character, just like the way she's designed too. So yeah, it does kind of look like Han Solo a little bit, but you got the same color scheme and everything, and the same like belts. How she's like handling herself is very muscular. Look at her shoulders, and like I know she's got like a little alien on her too, but very broad, barely any hips.
Well, look at the walk.
Yeah, the walk, the boobs, it's all different. But I also want to go back to these that I was showing during Hypnotics thing. This is Cal Kestis, and this is Cameron Monaghan, and he's the actor for the 2 EA Star Wars video games. They are identical. And then you go with EA again. This is the actress who plays Merrin, the Night Sister. Now, I understand the Night Sister's going to have all this, stuff on her because she's not a human. She's a Night Sister. But look at the difference between the first game and the second game. How bad she looks. Like, she looks like a boy here. And this is what the actress actually looks like. So
yeah, that's intentional.
It's been going on for a while. Yeah, it's been going on for a while, and it isn't intentional. It's pathetic.
It's really... We've talked about this at length, the masculization of women in video games and the feminization of men in video games, right? And their models and making them less natural. And it's really fascinating to see. And once again, you go back to, well, they don't have the technology. And I'm going to go back to a tweet from you, Hypnotic, over here. With this, like you can very clearly tell who all of these people are in video games based off of their real actors. You can everybody knows who these people are. It's not has nothing to do with technology. You cannot tell me that it is not purposefully done. That this wonderfully beautiful woman over here, you can't make a hot Star Wars actor or a smuggler. It just doesn't make sense. How do you go? Once again, how? Unless it's intentional. How do you go from this to that?
Well, it's the same with Mary Jane Watson for the latest Spider-Man game. The model was actually relatively pretty, and then they made her look butch in the video game. They're like, that's Mary Jane. She's totally a beautiful model. And there was the whole thread a couple of weeks ago how all these people on Twitter were all like, you just have a different standard for beauty. And they're really saying that all these female characters are actually beautiful. And it's like all these horrifically ugly, disgusting, like versions of these characters have now been completely, androgynous, basically. It's like, oh yeah, they're beautiful. You just have different standards. Like, no, those are just actually ugly characters. You changed them all. And these weirdos are like, yeah, it's beautiful.
It sucks that they've gone back, or they've gone to mocapping games. Like, that's a problem I have as a gamer. I don't want to play as an actor. Movies and games are different. So I am not like super old school in gaming where I only play old stuff. I'm not, into that only. But my point is, like, I don't want to play a video game to play as an actor, like, especially when it's not a recognizable one like this, like anybody. It's like, great. Like, it's lame character design, and it makes games less to me because there's no reason you can't model this and do it any way you want. There's no technological limitations. In the digital space, we can do anything. It will all map out and look good. This is garbage. And it's everywhere, though. It's in our movies. It's in everything. It's like, it used to be the phrase sex sells, but then a certain era or generation of people got into the workforce and sex is bad. And I'm not saying you need to push that in your Star Wars stuff because I like a nice, I don't want that in Star Wars, but you can't tell me that Princess Leia in the gold bikini didn't sell a lot of action figures more recently or a lot of posters back in the day. Everybody knows what they're doing. Even Star Trek. You want to talk about how great Star Trek was? It was. But those little skirts and those little costumes, those little things, got you in. And we still talk about Star Trek on an academic level. So the fact that we can't have attractive characters in games is garbage, and it's a lie, and it's more of whoever they are feeding you bullshit. So sorry for that, but like that's really what it is.
There's immense irony that the people who are upset about how beautiful women are and are complaining about the idea of sex selling, right, and human and wonderful human shape, female shape being accentualized and are the same people who often are sex workers who sell their buttholes.
Yep.
This really comes back to there are a lot of broken people. There are a lot of broken people, and a lot of those broken people have made their way into the video game industry, right? Just to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit, I have Blabs working on a project right now behind the scenes. And right now we're only talking about the games media. But I want to know what the demographics are of the games media, because these are the people that cover games on a day-to-day basis, right? So, and we know the answer to this, but I want data to back it up. I want to know how many of them have pronouns in their bio and how many of them identify as LGBTQ, right? And just go down the list of the top 10 video game outlets in the space, traditional video game outlets. These are the people who are writing about games. And we'll have that data here probably early next week, I would say. But we're going to do some data, do some diving on it, and deliver that. Like, these people don't live in real life. They don't live in real life. They're living in a bubble, and they don't understand that me, you, everybody watching this, the vast majority of people, I don't know, in society, like women to look like women and men to look like men.
But that's the thing. They don't care about what society wants because they view gaming as a means of social change. So they're trying to actively change social norms by using entertainment to do it, and they are, it's not, I don't think they're successful at all. But I think they're definitely indoctrinating little by little, even the smallest amount of people. And eventually what ends up happening is those small amount of people start passing it off to their kids, and then it starts becoming a domino effect. And you start seeing people become this identity for clout. I mean, there's that whole thing going around right now on Twitter with J-Lo and Affleck announcing another LGBTQ kid.
Oh, Jennifer. It was not J-Lo, it's Jennifer. It's the original wife.
Whatever. Yeah, sorry, Jennifer.
Garner.
Wrong Jennifer.
Wrong Jennifer, my bad. But still, they just magically getting another LGBTQ kid in the same family. Like, what's the chances of that, So it starts to become a thing where you start to question, all right, this is very clearly for clout. And, while you're doing that data, you should probably research out of all the people who identify as LGBTQ, how many of them identify as the easiest acronym, which is bisexual. Right? Like, how many of them are I would argue probably 70+% are going to label themselves bi. And the reason why they do that is because it's the easiest way to get clout for being part of the LGBTQ community. There's no commitment. You don't have to do anything. You could just say, well, yeah, I'm bisexual, but I predominantly, prefer the straight sex, but I'm still bi. I'm still part of the LGBTQ community. There's no commitment. Give me the points. Exactly. You don't have to fully commit. Every single virtue signaler I see online, for the most part, usually is bisexual. And that's because it's just easy, right? It's kind of like with trans women, the biggest ones that do it for clout online are the ones that haven't fully committed. They just put on the woman's clothing, they put on the wig and like they're the Mulvaney and they're like, yeah, I'm a girl. I just say I'm a girl. Until the grift is over and the money's done, and then eventually they can just go back and be like, well, I'm just, I've changed. Kind of like who did that? Demi Lovato changed her pronouns to they them while it was beneficial, and then the moment she left the headlines again and it wasn't beneficial, what she do? Oh, I just feel like going back to she her. It's my identity now. Like, oh, that's real easy and convenient.
Well, it's everywhere in entertainment, and these people are in comics and they push people to things. It's just it's like the arts are ugly. It's weird too, because we're all artists, we're trying to create stuff. It's like people are at each other's throats in this field too. And a lot of what you're seeing is a reaction to stay in the good graces of your field. For example, a lot of comic artists don't want to erase the boobs and the hips, but they draw those things because they feel pressured because a few people on the internet make you feel like that is the norm, or that is what you're expected, or how you're supposed to act. And that's a problem across the board, because as an artist, you're supposed to be an individual, do it your own way. But secondly, there's no good change coming from any of this stuff. If this was all positive and we were the minority, ground would be going, we'd be losing ground. But have you noticed over the last couple of years, because I've been doing this on YouTube since 2015, we keep gaining ground. Common sense is a thing that most people are hungry for. And as more of this kind of stuff comes out, more common sense keeps fighting it and battling it. So I hope that other forms of art don't keep going down the drain, because that's what it is, man. And if there's no art, what are we going to consume? It's not about drawing. Games are art. Cooking is art. All that stuff. If that goes away because of a few bad actors, as they like to say, we all lose.
No, yeah. Let's get back to an example I had where I was streaming on Rumble, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 months ago, whatever it was. And I just started my stream and my chat was like blowing up. I was getting spammed. I was like, oh my God, what the hell? Where are all these people coming from? Right. So I took a breath and I started banning people who were spamming. There was I don't remember what it was, but all of a sudden my chat, which was just being flooded, it was like 4 or 5 accounts, and it was just 4 or 5 accounts spamming and being loud, and then everything went back to normal. And it seems like there's so much shit happening at one point, but it's really just a couple asshats. In this case, probably just one person with a couple alt accounts on a couple monitors trying to be a jerk, And when you take a step back, it's literally just a few people that are making all the noise and causing all this, which actually kind of leads into our next story with Lara Croft.
Before you jump into that real fast, there was one more thing for Outlaws. Ubisoft has confirmed, chat, that Outlaws requires a permanent internet connection. So they're making it a bit annoying for you. So there's that. Just letting you all know. The
single player game?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it gets even better. It gets even better than that. So not only do you need a permanent internet connection to play the game, you need an internet connection to even install the game, even if you have a disc.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they know that patch is coming, baby. They know that game's not going to be done.
It says it on the box now.
Yeah.
Will the normies that we were talking about earlier, will they accept that basic 3 sentences or 3 words or whatever enough to make this the norm? Because I'm afraid they are.
Probably. Most likely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people will look at it and they'll buy it regardless and kind of go from there. So I want to point out real quick, this is awesome. Mark came in with a $50 super chat. Says, hey guys, I love watching you every morning. It's my birthday tomorrow. Here, Craig will be out in Vegas tomorrow. And man, I wish so badly I can meet you. Been watching you since the ScrewAttack days, but alas, work. Have a great day, guys, and stay safe. Mark, happy birthday tomorrow. Look at that, Mark. Birthday going up on the wall. Let's go. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, that's awesome. Won't be able to put anybody on the wall tomorrow or Friday, but Mark, you're going up there, baby. Let's go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Happy birthday, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Chat, say happy birthday.
Yeah, a little happy birthday. Also, this looks like a friend of yours. Lavistro says, here's a critique. Not much diversity in your streams. Having a FAE face. Okay. Helps. But the fact he's the leader of the bigot army helps. Oh, hi, boss man. And keep up the great work, y'all. Here's money. You like money, right? We do. And we will not discourage anybody from giving us money. So thank you very much for that. If you'd like to give us money, we encourage it. Thank you very much. This is what we do on a day-to-day basis. James says, I find it ironic that Alyssa thinks that your audience is too dumb to operate a motor vehicle. With her experience, I would have assumed that she would have more experience with trains rather than cars.
Oh my gosh.
Accurate.
No lie detected.
Dwight says, can't believe people paid to see Mercanti naked. I'd pay to keep her clothes on. I don't think people actually did. Just because you had an OnlyFans or you did that doesn't mean people actually paid to do it, right? And Dad doesn't count, all right? Dad was just giving you money to.
Ew!
Maple came in, says the gaming industry is mirroring the automotive industry in service focus. Cars aren't where auto profits lies. It's in parts and service. Similarly, games don't make money from base sales, but from DLC and additional services. Thank you very much. And that's good insight. Crit came in and says, GOG or GOG is the way to go for some old games, DRM free, and you can download the install files and put it on an external SSD and disk, so you don't have to rely on the servers anymore in the future. Thanks, Crit, and you are correct. Yes, I will get to the rest of these super chats in just a little bit, but I do want to make sure we get to this final story out of about Tomb Raider. This is our lead story today. Good God, I can't believe. We've been talking about Melanie is going to be coming back to the show sooner than later, but a lot of people, anytime they see Tomb Raider news, they immediately think like Melanie Mack because she's the big Tomb Raider fan. And yesterday we saw the news of, now this is not a video game, to be clear, this is a tabletop video game, but this very, very clearly speaks to the direction of where Lara Croft and Tomb Raider are going, as the British adventurer Lara Croft will transition from being a raider of tombs to a seeker of truth, as Evil Hat Productions and Crystal Dynamics seek to redefine the Tomb Raider series in order to escape its colonial past. All of the issues. Oh, Jeff, you're not a big fan of that idea, huh?
Not at all.
No. Savvy, who has been on the show many, many times, and this is what Savvy does so wonderfully. She just asks questions, but the problem is there will never be a response. May I inquire if this is official language or not? It is truly an attempt to quote. Is this truly an attempt to rebrand an iconic character who in her current state as Tomb Raider was voted voted in the West as a top character? If she is loved, why does she need to be changed? Which I think are wonderful questions for sure. And I think that's when you look at the changes that are being made to these characters, it's amazing that without the curves of Lara Croft, without the sex sells aspect of Lara Croft, without literally that being an entire part of the character of Lara Croft wouldn't exist today. Tomb Raider wouldn't exist today without that. But we'll continue on here with Melanie. Says, us classic fans have seen the writing on the wall all along. The devs have outright been telling us for years, and some people still want to be delulu about it. Crystal Dynamics Lara Croft isn't really Lara Croft. She's some woke truth seeker, not a Tomb Raider. And I thought this would be, this is just absolutely fascinating from the website itself. Raiding and colonialism. What then is raiding? And how does it mirror colonial practices? Like, at a certain point, this is so tiring. It's just so tiring. Raiding, as depicted in the original Tomb Raider games and stories, involved going into ancient tombs and historical sites of different civilizations and acquiring artifacts. It operates on the assumption of finders keepers that grants raiders with the means and drive with the means and drive to claim ownership of artifacts, regardless of whether they have any historical or cultural claim to that treasure. Later games released in the franchise have started the work of addressing this by having Lara Croft acknowledge her past mistakes and try to understand how respect for the cultures and communities she came into contact with. She has also worked to reform raider culture and raise the awareness of her peers. Lara no longer decorates her mantle with mythic and artifacts. As a raider, she prioritizes seeking out the truth. Much of this game is inspired by her humanity, struggle with heroism, and her tenacity. We believe that all three aspects are important components to creating a game that celebrates history and culture while acknowledging the respect and work required to live in a world wounded by colonialism. In this game, we seek to continue. I honestly am having a hard time reading this. This is so fucking insane. In this game, we seek to continue in that work alongside Crystal Dynamics to create a sandbox for you to tell stories that address colonialist themes, to play and create your own stories of respect and support for the people and cultures your seekers encounter. Pardon me, I'm going to go throw up for a few minutes, and then I'll be back.
What a load of waffle. That's all I have.
Load of
I
waffle.
just find it ironic. I find it ironic that they didn't name it Lara Croft Truth Seeker. They named it Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Even after saying that she would no longer be a Tomb Raider, she would be a Truth Seeker. So, like, why are you using the name for clout then? Because you know that well, that's my point. You know that the brand is heavily sought after by its fans, and you know that if you renamed it Lara Croft Truth Seeker, they would probably all go, what the fuck at that point. And then it would make your obvious agenda just a little more obvious. And, they don't like to be that obvious. They like to be a little bit in the shadows with some of it. And they know that the name, listen, like Melanie Mack said, and I think I posted something on Twitter too about this, where I said, it's so interesting that you have a platform to virtue signal with in the first place. And that platform was built upon the backs of original fans and the original Lara Croft and what she did and how she was as a character and how people love those games. Like fans like Melanie Mack, you built that IP off their backs, and then now you're using it to try to claim that you're virtuous in some weird way. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It's kind of boring too. And that's basically where I stand with that.
This whole colonialist thing is really pretty fascinating. Really what it comes down to is at some point in society, in all societies, not just in the West, everywhere in the world, at some point there was some sort of argument or fight or war, and somebody lost, right? That's really what it comes down to. Somebody lost, somebody died. So what happens? Well, the winners win and the losers lose. And that's happened throughout society, whether it's the West, whether it's the East, whether it's the North, whether it's the South. It doesn't matter where it happened. It's happened literally everywhere. And it always goes back to these college indoctrinated, educated white women who feel like they need to change history. And they want to do this. If not, it goes back to what you said. Like this, they want to do it through games. They want to take a franchise that has been around for 30 years and be like, yeah, so about that was all bad. But at the end of the day, this is a clear direction for this character. As Crystal Dynamic, if you recall, as pointed out by Razor Fist, who was on the show yesterday. Do you remember when the remaster came out and Crystal Dynamics, they had that statement that was like, well, we distance from all this. Well, it all makes sense now. And now you know why they tried to undermine the Tomb Raider remaster with that cringy disclaimer. Can't have a prominent reminder that Tomb Raider was once unrepentant fun. That's right. So that's kind of where things are at. And Ian in the chat, who also came in with the big old support here with 25 euro money, says Lara Croft, eat, pray, love. That's right. Thanks, Ian. Came in with this wonderful little meme. Says, can't wait for the next game, Tomb Raider, the bureaucratic files.
Oh my god,
it's fucking funny. The bureaucratic files to repatriate. I don't even know what that word is. Blaz, what is that word? I can't read this word. I'm not smart enough.
I don't.
To
repatriate.
Yeah.
There we are. Thanks. Hey, Ian, you're so smart. I can't even read this word. But
He's
there
English.
we are. Lara Croft behind the desk in a little AI generated. By the way, also AI generated Lara Croft is stacked. Just throwing it out there.
Just enough to say that.
AI knows what's up. Good job, AI.
I like your take on boobies.
Thanks, AI. Appreciate that. That's great. I would like to point out, speaking of boobies on Lara Croft, right? Let's talk about something that she doesn't have in this art. Boobs.
Look
Once
how
again, it goes
her
back to what we were
arms
talking about.
are. Look how muscular
Yes.
her arms are. Look at that. Wow.
Jaws wider.
Like
Jaws
wider, got some fucking boss biceps and shoulders over here.
Those
like
shoulders, man.
Yeah, like I'll be honest, I don't think there's really anything per se wrong with her face. I still think the face is kind of pretty in that image, but the shoulders are super broad, and I don't know. The arms are really big too. It's a muscular torso.
They only alter what they can get away with it being recognizable still. And Lara Croft, I mean, we joke back in the day, but they were giant cones on her chest. That was like the thing.
Yeah.
And like the thing too that these people don't realize is, because they weren't alive, Tomb Raider wasn't just a popular video game. Lara Croft was like the first digital character. Well, no, Max Headroom would be first, but Lara Croft was like the first video game character that had a weird life outside of a game, where she was on the cover of like, was it Rolling Stone or Entertainment Weekly or something, like as a fictional character. So people don't really take into account how big this was. And the more they change it, the less impact it has. Yes, in the 90s, we all liked giant boobs. Look at Pamela Anderson. But we also liked this character because she was cool.
Jeff, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
In the 90s, we liked giant boobs. In the 80s, we liked giant boobs. In the 1960s, we like giant boobs. In the 2000s, we like giant boobs. In 2024, we like giant boobs. In 2500, we'll like giant boobs. In 10,375, we will like giant boobs.
Can you imagine what boobs are going to look like in 10,375?
They're probably just like Wally-like things.
With all the plastic surgery we have and everything, I'm just curious.
We'll be there soon. Ooh.
I just want to see a tri-boob. Like a real, genuine tri-boob.
What's it?
Oh, like Total Recall.
A tri-boob is a triple boob.
Total Recall. Look it up.
It was just
I saw it in Total Recall. I want to see a real one, though.
No.
I was just telling Labs to check it out. It's a great movie on its own.
I'm good.
I like boobies.
Yes. Everybody likes boobs. Women like their own boobs. Men like women's boobs. The end.
Raise your nose.
Titties.
That's right.
That's great.
All right. I love that he has his arm up as well. like he's proclaiming it to everybody. All right, we got some wonderful super chats to read, and we appreciate any and all support you guys have thrown our way today, whether it's through super chats or direct donations. Like John Conju came in with a 5, says this sounds like a huge advertisement for GameFly. Don't want to buy games, just rent it instead. That's right, John. Thank you very much. And Yokoi came in, also picked up the brand new Side Scrollers All-Star t-shirt. Says buying this shirt as a goal for my fitness journey. Want to lose enough weight to fit into this shirt and go skydiving, and we'll wear this shirt on the jump. Let's go, Yokoi. Love that.
Nice.
Hey, go get it. Cut down those portions. Do a little bit of walking, and you're going to be there before you know it. I promise you that. And when you do that, when you skydive, and when you're wearing this shirt, do me a favor. Send the clip so we can celebrate it on the show. I'm excited for you. That's awesome. Labs, would you mind starting off the super chats with Master Bader right here, please?
Yes, that man for $2 says that's why things like season passes exist now. Correct. Noodle says picked up Chrono Trigger on the SNES. It hurt my wallet, but I know I'll have a blast with it. Yeah, have fun with that. Crazy, one of our best mods. For $1.99 says Alyssa's new name is Thundercunt 3000. Yes, she is a smelly, stinky thing. Chicha-tomate. Did I say that right? Chica tomate. I think that's how you say it. I feel like I'm having a stroke reading this. If this is boring and bland, I'm kind of curious on what she finds funny and interesting. Probably nothing. She probably stares at like paint drying on the wall or something. Master Bader says, Grums made a tweet comparing the man and woman. Yes, we used that one. Thanks, Grums. Xander says, why did Knuckles from Sonic show up in WWE wrestling? Recently, I should say, not recently. Recently. I don't know. I don't speak wrestling. Sorry. RB says, make beauty pretty again. I mean, beauty's always there, and it's always, the beer holder. But let's just say make pretty again in gaming.
Oh, real quick. I saw that Knuckles at WrestleMania that you're talking about. I don't know. I think it was realistically, I think it was a fan that might have had some kind of issue or something like that, like a sensory thing, because it wasn't like it was weird. It looked like a kid in a costume when you saw it up close. So there's your answer.
There you go. Hobo says, would they be okay if Ron Weasley started to look like a blue hair, overweight neckbeard? Had to use a book example since they clearly don't play games. No, they wouldn't, but they'll probably make him black, and that'll be okay. Nissan, it's a Star Wars game. Why can't we be an alien? Good point. We have yet to do one in a couple years, unless you count the Lego ones. Nash, I read an article with an unnamed dev saying that they would make women look that way so not to make the trans community uncomfortable. Could it be possible? Yeah, entirely.
1000%. And Nash, just so you know, that is not a one-off thing. That's happened many, many times. Once again, I have so many conversations, and I'm a part of so many groups that are not public. And if you think that's a one-off conversation, you are sorely mistaken. This is happening in every industry, every developer, every company in the industry, and it is not a one-off thing. It's ongoing for sure.
Cesario says Lara Croft got canceled for putting her poor person of color butler into the fridge one too many times. Oh dear.
Thanks, Cesario.
Was the butler black?
I don't know. Adam, as part of the bigot army, thank you. Great stream. Cheers.
Well, come on in, Adam.
Rendog, live service games upon discontinuation should immediately be regarded as orphan works and fair game for the public domain.
You know, that's a really good point. And I think that's the idea of all of a sudden it just becomes public domain because you don't have access to it. I don't know if it should be instantly, but if they don't touch it for 5 years, a decade, there's the public domain aspect, but hopefully it's not 100 years, but it is interesting for sure.
I see Epic Mike is in the chat. Hi, Mike. HD for 5 says nothing more virtuous than stealing an idea, hollowing it out, and then sticking your hand of it like a puppet and calling it yours. Correct. Hello, Disney Star Wars.
That's what we're seeing every day. Every day.
Super Bear, am I the real monster here? Laura said as she looked down at Golden Skull artifact from the tribe of cannibals, she wasn't respecting enough.
Right. That's a great point. Like, you talk about these tribes of these like horrible people who went to battle and conquered these other civilizations to win said Golden Skull, and all of a sudden here we are, and now Lara Croft is the bad person. It's amazing.
J.R. Rare Bear. Remember ScrewAttack's top 10 ugly chicks in gaming? That video aged like wine. Wait, that's a thing?
Yeah,
you should re-upload and react to it and see like what your opinions are. If you would add many more people to it.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. There would be many that would be added to it. Yeah, it's funny. People give me slack for like those videos. It's like fuck off. That's funny as shit. Why can't we do top 10 ugly chicks in gaming? Why can't we do top 10 ugly men in gaming? Why can't we? You should be able to laugh at this stuff. Yeah, stop being. What was that, Blabs?
I said fuck off, you insensitive little shits.
That's right. I mean, we absolutely should. I'm going to pull that video up really quick. I'm just see if I can find that.
Okay, yeah. I'll keep reading the chat. Master Bader says, make women hot again. I agree. And Skull Leader, the raiders in point of fact saved many historical artifacts from these cultures. Only societies that can eat will preserve instead of use it for barter. Barter, I'm assuming you're saying. But thank you, Skull Leader. Oh, look, it's me. Blob's a tower, $25. Craig is the Grand Imperial Dragon of one of the non-public groups he's part of with Brian Kinnell. I like pickles and violence and tentacles. Yay! Is Brian Kinnell like Ryan's like ulterior like superhero name? I don't know.
His final form.
Yeah. Thank you for those super chats.
Let me see if I can pull this up really quick. Do you guys care to check this out? Just a quick glance through this top 10.
Sure.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Just speed it or something.
I'll tell you this. Birdo's on the list.
Nice.
That makes sense.
Birdo is on the list. Just a quick glance. Looks like Melina's on the list for her ugly grill. Her teeth from Mortal Kombat 2. Looks like Grunty is on the list. The queen from it says Queen Slug for a Butt from Earthward Jim.
Oh yeah.
And Mother Brain from the Captain N cartoons. And here we go. Let me see. Yeah. This. Oh, here we go. You know what? I just want to show off number 1 really quick. Let me see if I can pull this up. Because this is pretty good, and I think this is where we'll end the show today. Let me see if I can find this.
Well, I have
quick.
memes.
Yeah, go and fire up those memes real quick.
Let me refresh because we just got a really funny, horrible meme of myself. Thanks, guys. Okay, the very first one we have is I know the way. So thanks. We also have this thing where I'm just talking about pickles.
Pickles are destroying my life.
Oh, thanks.
People make fun of me. It's so sad.
You know what's sad is I've actually seen this. The original. I remember this on TV, like the original video they're taking this from.
God. And then we have this one also. This is a little thing of Melanie. Let me lower this a little bit. It's gonna be loud.
Hey, there's my
Is it
face.
possible to give me your thoughts on including Lara?
Oh
I
god,
keep seeing Laura every
about
time.
to drop. It's about to drop.
Would it be possible to give me your thoughts on including Lara? Oh,
I
thank
checked
God.
it. I screened it. Don't worry.
Melanie's videos have more suspense than most horror movies these days. Like you just know, like you feel suspenseful. You know it's coming.
Yeah, chat. Craig was. Craig. Chat was roasting you because you kept calling Laura instead of Lara. You're like,
Lara.
Lara.
Lara Croft.
So here's the new Star Wars game. It's like the trans Dead by Daylight character. I thought that was really funny in Battlefront in 2015. And then this is absolutely horrific. Brabs and Brabs Ubisoft.
God, why is this so accurate? Twice is
That's
so accurate.
awful.
Oh,
Anyway.
See, wider jaw, everything. Look at
I am
that.
black now. I have curly hair, but I have even curlier hair now. So yay! Thanks, chat.
All right, I got this pulled up real quick, and the audio may be a little funky. If it's funky, let me know, okay? But we're just gonna watch the number one. I've not pre-screened this, by the way. I don't remember this. I remember the name of the list. I don't remember everything on the list. But this is 37 seconds long. This is the number one ugly chick in video games, according to ScrewAttack back in the day. And this is me voicing it. Let's see what we got here.
4, Skeletor. Number 3, Mother.
Can you hear it okay?
Yeah,
It's an
Okay.
echo.
And there's an echo.
a little bit,
Sounds
but it's not
like
that
it,
bad.
yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's just we'll fight through it.
And number 2, Mother Stinking Brain from Captain Ed.
It's number one.
Usually in our top 10, there's at least some discussion as who's going to be number 1. But on this list, there was no arguments. Clavo in God of War 2 is like the fat lady you see just stuck in a manhole, complete with fat girl voice, reptile-like scales, and ginormous fatty boobs. Lots of fatty boobs. Ugh. Usually when you see boobies everywhere, you think that's a good thing. But dear Lord, who has boobs on their stomach? As you make your way to the chamber, it's bad enough to avoid swaying blades of death, but being killed by nipples takes this broad to a whole nother level. But you know,
We started to bring in the a plastic bag to put over her head at the end, right there at the very
killed
top.
by nipples takes this broad to a whole.
Anyways, so there you go. That's not that bad. We said broad and all sorts of
Man,
things.
that brings Death of Snoo to a whole other level.
Ooh.
All right, there you go. That's fun. But yes, the paper bag to cover up the head because why not, right? Let's get out of here. Let's
No.
go.
Magna says, at panel, have you seen Quentin reviews? He makes 8-hour reviews on Nickelodeon sitcoms. It's astounding millions of viewers have that much patience.
Wow. No, have not. That sounds pretty fun.
People just come back to the
8-hour review?
videos. That's what they do. They probably watch like an hour one day, come back, watch more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Well, yeah,
anybody
of course.
sits through 8 hours.
No, absolutely not. I'm sure that's you said millions of people. That's crazy. That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what. I need everybody to do us all a favor and head over and check out the Hypnotics channel, which would be great. You're going to do me a favor and head over there and check out links. They're going to be in the description if you'd like to check out Hypnotic and what you got going on a day-to-day basis. Or hit the subscribe button, just like I already have, and see all the videos that he's uploading on a day-to-day basis. How many videos are you getting up a day right now?
3 videos a day on the main channel, 2 on the clip channel, and I stream every day.
Man, you are in it to win it, man. Go get it.
That
Love
would be an understatement.
Yes.
But yes,
well,
very busy.
Yeah, congratulations. Keep it going. And obviously go check out the world-class bullshitters channel as well. You can go find Jeff.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Almost to 200K, folks. Once we go, we're going to celebrate big and look out for woke busters.
Love that. Love that. I'm sorry, Blabs, you whispered something?
Yeah, RumbleRants.
We have RumbleRants. We do. 60 Watt says, can't kill all the bugs in HD2, Blabs. Get good, scrub. Thanks, 60 Watt. Appreciate that. Dude says DLC can let those characters live, and giving people the models allow the online features to not become fractured between has the DLC. This is hard to read, like what happened to early Halos and CODs. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that. Remember, I can't read good, guys. This has been well established. So
I can't read well, guys.
I know. That's why I say it like that.
Oh.
Blake says, I don't know how many times I've told you not to call chicks broads. Thanks, Blake. 61 says, MJ looks like just like the actual face model, that self-insert writer, 1-to-1. Oh yeah, the Mary Jane for sure. That's amazing to see. Oh, I guess.
Bye, Hypnotic.
See you later.
Oh, there he is.
Abomination says they say Lara is bad because she comes across someone else's property, takes it as her own, and does whatever she wants with it. They're doing the same with Tomb Raider. It's so blatant. But don't you see that every day in society, where people come across somebody else's society, takes it their own, and they squat, and then and they embrace that, don't they? Isn't that the idea? Just saying. They can't starve you says make giant boobs great again with the 1. Thank you very much. Bronsonite says activism burrow into existing properties and parasitically use them as vehicles to spread their agenda. Revisionist tactics to erase history for the next generation. Samurai Vader says, Jeff, do you have a butter dish?
Like an actual dish for butter? Sure. If there's another meeting, I don't know. But there is a dish here for butter.
Yes. And 60 watts says RumbleRants Dokay. Sorry, 60 watts. Mute came back says having 12 siblings, I don't celebrate shit.
Damn.
There you go. Love that, Mute Tree.
Kids.
All right, guys, that is outstanding. School Leader, thanks again for coming in with the massive $40 super chat. Let's get out of here, guys. Go find Hypnotic. Go find Jeff over on their channels. Links are in the description. Appreciate you guys popping in. I'll be live from Las Vegas tomorrow, hanging out with our wonderful friends out there. So look forward to seeing a lot of them. And tomorrow we're going to have a special stream in the afternoon scheduled to do our magazine stream with Chris Gore and Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. We're going to do a video game magazine celebration. Probably just look at a lot of Nintendo powers and nerd out of them. It's going to be great.
Best advertisement ever.
Yeah, man. Just come watch us nerd out about Nintendo power. Sounds about good. And I'm sure Chris is going to have some good stories because he worked in the video game magazine world for a long time. So with that said, guys, appreciate y'all popping in. Thanks so much for being a part of our lives and allowing us to be a part of yours. And remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go get it. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, chat.